Okay.
So you'll have it by your next meeting.
Okay, well then I propose we table that to the next meeting. Does anybody have any additions, or deletions or corrections?
I'd like to add a discussion concerning camping within town limits.
Okay. Currently it's banned, I think, correct?
Right. To the best of my knowledge, it is.
I mean, all the signs I've ever seen
Yeah.
say that it is, so.
Besides, I don't know if there's an ordinance, but
There's
I'd like
signs.
to add that.
Yeah. Go for your pen.
5C.
Yeah, let's say 5C. Anything else? Okay,
I'd like a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those, wait, I didn't hear. Did everyone say aye?
Aye.
Okay, cool.
Passes 5-0.
And does anybody have any corrections that need to be made from the minutes for August 23rd?
Looks good to me.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is there anyone here who has public input that is not already on the agenda? Ann?
Ann Esch, I live at 6830 Colorado Street, and I would just like to tell all of you, and I'm gonna put it on Facebook, Saturday, my husband had an emergency, and I was gone, and he had my cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
and he called 911, and our wonderful Tyler, Butts, Johnson, plus Teller came,
Mm-hmm.
and Jerry was pretty frightened. But it was dehydration. At 80, that happens, and, but they transported him up to the little hospital, and they had to give him some intravenous fluid,
Mm-hmm.
but he's okay. But I'm gonna put it on Facebook, and thank them, because I thought others in the town, we wanna make a donation,
Mm-hmm.
because we're very grateful. And maybe if I do that, others will know how to do that.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just say that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We wondered, because we heard the
Heard the sirens.
we heard the sirens going up towards your house, and we figured it was someone we knew or a hiker, so.
Well, I thought it could be Joe Lester or.
Yeah.
I had no idea it would be my house.
Yeah.
And I just drove up and made it.
Yeah.
So, but I just thought I'd fill you in on that. He's okay.
Okay. I guess you're the only other person here who probably doesn't have anything on the agenda.
Correct. So this is public input?
Yes.
Yes.
Mike Loman, and I represent the Newcastle Triangle Chamber. The chamber has a question with regards to signage. Currently, there's no neon signs allowed. We're wondering about a backlit sign, if that would be possible and acceptable, and what would the specifications be required?
I don't think we can tell you that yet. Have we?
Haven't heard from the
It's
legislature.
specified in the town
But
ordinance.
our sign ordinance does not.
Yeah, land use code. Yes, it's
No, right now, Dick, there's a, sign ordinance in front of the state legislature. It's been there for a while that says that all of our signs are right now, can we or can't we? It started out specifically for campaign signs, but of course, as these things do, they're looking at all sign ordinances. So what we've done is in good faith, we still follow our old sign ordinance, but that could change. So we're waiting to hear from our attorney to see what has changed.
There are specifications in the town land use code.
Do you have an example of what you're looking at?
Basically a 24 by 36 backlit sign that would list events
Would it be kind of something like they have at the church right now?
After what?
At the Church of Wildwood?
No, it would be, basically the photo projector, like off of the back of or like you're looking at a TV screen.
Oh, okay.
Where would it be?
We're thinking two places that we, down by, well, I'm thinking, I'm gonna put this in front of the chamber on Thursday. One down by the, slap sign, and then one here in front of town hall.
And who would have
One
the
second.
responsibility for the electric for that?
The chamber. Or either that or the solar power.
Matt?
I believe the current sign code does not allow backlit.
Yeah,
I
we'd have
believe
to
that
check.
they could be lit from in front, but they can't be backlit.
And if it's what I'm thinking of, the ones that have like the showing a projection,
Mhm.
it's pretty bright, isn't it?
You can build the contrast in proportion to the surrounding light. So during the day, the white is almost black,
Okay.
and then the layer may be white, so.
It's actually 16:411, I think. 1 second.
What I was looking for is some guidance as far as,
Mr. Chairman, we don't have to respond to public input. Why
No,
don't we
we
just
don't.
ask Mike to research the town code, the answers in there.
okay,
Mike, I'll be glad to call you and give you the site.
Yeah, that's fine if you like that. Make sure Mike gets the right information.
you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for
Thank
bringing
you.
it up.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Okay. Let's go ahead and move forward. Vacation rental 10693 Illinois, John Bell.
So, let me draw it here for you.
Thank you.
One to table, I didn't know quite what the layout was
That's
gonna be.
fine.
Sure.
So what I wanted to do is make a request for the property that's in yellow, that's the highlighted property, that has the address of 10693 Illinois. And its access from Illinois goes past the main residence at 10691, that's the non-highlighted. So you'll see that there's a pink driveway that's coming off at the top of Illinois on the east side. Goes around the larger property on the south side and then to the property of interest, 10693, highlighted. And there's space there for parking. And my wife and I purchased this property in 2009, fall of 2009. It's been strictly for family use since then, and we wanted to consider it for vacation rental. And would be happy to entertain any questions that you have.
And so, just to make sure I'm clear, the parking is behind the yellow property, or the yellow highlighted?
So, yeah, that parking was at the front door of this, of the cabin, correct?
Okay.
So there's a pink box with the P, that's the parking.
Just making sure.
And the main house is your residence?
That's it. That is, so my wife and I, our current residence is in Colorado Springs, and then that's our vacation property that, for personal family or something.
Orient me a little bit, John. Illinois comes to a dead end.
Correct. And so at the top of the dead end, if you turn left, that begins the driveway for these three lots, with the two structures.
Okay, so what you see from Illinois, there where you can look inside the property, is what looks like a two-story house.
Yes,
This is what is a big house.
that's correct.
So if you're sitting on Illinois looking in, you can't see the yellow property.
You really, you'd have to know what you're looking for, but, you know, Illinois is platted to go, well, that, the property in question that I'm requesting rental for actually sits in the platted street of Illinois, but it's not platted. So as you go to the top and there's a dead end, there's a fire hydrant.
Yes.
If you were to look, continue straight up the hill, you could see if you were, once you're accustomed to know what you're looking for, you would be able to see that property, yeah.
But the entrance is circular like you have drawn it.
Yes, exactly. The only way to get to that property by car would be to follow that driveway, which makes that big loop. I know there's often concerns about trash and animals. Presently, I don't have intent to build a trash box in front of that property. I've got other rental property on Grant, and they're almost, more times than not, the bears are smarter than the trash box builder, which would be myself. So I would have the vacation renters keep trash in their property. When they need to transfer to the big house, we have trash cans in the garage, and that would be, or trash would be kept. It would not be, it wouldn't be a trash box outside. I know there's also interest about promoting the vacation attitude of Green Mountain Falls, and so there's also very easy trail access across our private property to the Kirkland Trail from there.
Great. And just so you know, there may be some extra requirements that come up within the next year,
Okay.
because we've been kind of going through the process of revising our short-term rental rules. And so they would eventually go into effect for everyone. It won't be a huge change as long as you're being careful with how you rent anyway.
Right.
But there may be some changes in how much it costs per year and those kind of things.
Okay.
So they're not final yet, are we?
And how many square feet is this, John?
Oh, it's a whopping 600, I believe. Yes.
One
It's-
bedroom?
I'm sorry?
Is it a one bedroom?
Yes, it's a one bedroom.
How many would it sleep then?
I'm gonna
What
shoot
would
for
you
couples. The marketing strategy right now would be to direct it to couples, no children.
Okay.
Have it be more of a sort of honeymoon place than a family place. And it's just because of its small size and the fact that it's one bedroom.
Cool. And one thing we usually look for, we like to see, so this will be the first, there's a couple of meetings you have to come to, but one of the things we like to see as part of approving it is actually a set of house rules.
Okay.
And Renee, do you think you can make either?
He has a
I have a
copy.
copy.
Oh, you have a copy, great. And that's just guidelines.
Right.
We don't say you have to have your house rules this way, but,
Understood.
Does he have the revised copy, the one that we
I don't know.
proposed?
I don't know. I don't know if it's the revised or not.
But the changes we're making to house rule, or the house rules that we like aren't a lot different from what you see there. So if you use those as a guideline, you can add your own on. If some of them don't apply, you can take them off. We do like to see a copy of your house rules when we actually go to have the hearing and all that kind of stuff. The hearing usually happens in 2 weeks, right? And what happens is, as part of the fee that you're paying,
15 days.
15 days.
Yeah.
So maybe a month. But as part of the fee you pay, Renee puts out signs so all your neighbors know what's happening. And then we have a hearing where people can come. And we also send out letters to all your surrounding neighbors. So they have input on what's happening. So, I mean, normally the only times we really see resistance is when people have been really. And so, outside of that,
Yeah, so yes, I guess a caution would be if you're not on good terms with, say, one of your neighbors, With your wild and grease the skids.
So, thank you for, giving us all the information that you brought. Renee, when would the hearing be?
October 11th.
Okay. And so, the hearing would be October 11th,
Why not September 27th?
because we have to have 15 days.
15 days.
Oh, thank you, that's right. Okay,
It's that intermediate 15 days, which is 14 days.
October 11th.
And then it
Yeah.
would go to the board on October 18th.
So, yeah. And has Mr. Bell paid the fee,
Yes.
the application fee? Okay. So we've got everything we need from you right now.
Okay.
And Renee will be taking care of everything else. She automatically sends everything out to the neighbors based on the maps we have and everything. So, do you have any questions for us?
No.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got the max deck rebuild. And has he paid the fees? Okay, great. And, I think one question Molly and I had, Mac, was, is the deck changing size and is it actually on their property?
It is on their property, it fits all the setbacks. The only thing that's gonna change is the stairs to the upper cabin do not exist now.
Mm-hmm.
They have, since we started talking about this, have demolished the original decks on both the cabins. The drawings reflect exactly what's there now.
Yeah, I actually saw the drawings on it, what cabin it was.
The only thing that actually has changed on the larger deck is that, where the triangle is squared off, where it attaches to the cabin,
Mm-hmm,
used to be just a triangular step,
mm-hmm,
and we moved that up just to make a little more room on the deck.
okay. But the
So there'll be
size.
one
of it
more
is-
step on the staircase, and it will eliminate that triangular stair. And the other thing is that the deck on the upper cabin was the full length of the upper cabin, and all they're requiring is a landing
Mhm,
and the stairs from the lower deck to the upper deck.
okay. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think one thing we like to see, since we can't see setbacks on there, is if you could just write a note on there that says this meets all the 5-foot setbacks,
Not a
or
problem.
we would appreciate that before we stamp it. And since it's not changing, you're only adding a set of stairs in, and you're actually shrinking the upper deck, I think. I don't have any questions about that, I don't think. Does anybody else?
Yes, Mac, there is that, rock wall that's in front.
Mhm.
Will the new deck be behind this like the existing one seems to be now?
Yes.
So
The deck that runs parallel to that wall is, I'm not attaching it to the building to be freestanding because the building needs some foundation work, so I didn't want to attach it to the building and take a chance on having the deck become a problem with the building. So, but there is no change. The deck that runs parallel to the wall is probably 12 or 14 feet uphill from the top of the wall. So it's set back pretty far. The deck doesn't get anywhere near the wall.
Okay. So it's not, well, encroaching may be too strong a word, but it's not encroaching, further onto the.
No, the drawing is exactly the way, the footprint is exactly the same as what was there.
And, what is the, owner's name?
McGinnis.
Huh?
McGinnis.
McGinnis?
Yeah, the contact is
Should
Colin
be on the,
McGinnis. It's on the plan, it's on the print.
Okay. It just wasn't summarized here on our sheet, on that. Okay.
Yeah, if you guys like to take a second to look at that, maybe we can see if there's any more questions.
Yeah, it's actually, the name on there is Colin McGinnis, and he's the contact person for you and me. It's actually owned by several brothers and sisters, but they're doing it in unison. What the idea is that they're all approaching retirement age, and they want to spend a little more time in Green Mountain Falls, and they felt like the deck was getting a little rickety, needed to fix that. Probably sometime in the future, they're probably gonna have it rewired and replumbed, so they're taking a real proactive approach to this.
They have a good neighbor.
They do. Actually, all their neighbors are pretty nice.
Do you guys have any other questions about the deck? Okay, I'd like to make the motion to approve the deck with the deck plans with a note that Mac adds that says that, it does meet all the setbacks. And that, because I think the note's already on there that the size isn't changing, so.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, Mac, if you could just grab the plans in a second and make a note, I can stamp them. I'd like to do it now because I'm afraid I'll forget at the end if we don't do it now, so. I probably won't remember to forget though.
Do we have two
All
sets?
I have is a pencil. If you have any,
No, that's the only set we have.
No, isn't that two sets right there?
No, because the fourth page was no, it's one set.
Oh, okay, for some reason I thought there was two. Okay, while Mac's doing that, you wanna talk about camping inside town as well?
Yeah, I'm doing a fair amount of camping, although it's been in an RV. And twice we've been up to the Colorado campground, up to 67, which is just, the campground is just south of Manitou Lake. And they're charging $20 a night if you've got a senior pass or Eagle, they drop it down 10. And then I was wondering, why isn't there camping in Green Mountain Falls? And in particular, Garden of Eden. The majority of Garden of Eden lies within town limits. As you go farther up into the canyon, you then enter Pike National Forest. And Pike National Forest, the U.S. Forest Service has what they call dispersed camping, and it's camping in undeveloped areas. And so I'm just wondering, is that something the town wants to entertain?
I've always been curious why the town said no camping.
And I would look to see if there's any in an ordinance. Are you aware of any ordinance?
There's an ordinance that says no camping within town limits without a permit. Words without a permit is in there.
So how does one get a permit?
I've been here 32 years, we've never issued a permit, never asked for one.
That's because people just camp without it.
I've seen people camp up there on 2 occasions.
I mean, I've been.
The first one, they were probably
Yeah.
like,
The planning commission, the trails committee agreed with the town ordinance because we were concerned when there was some fire rings appearing up in the Garden of Eden. With our tinderbox situation, we did not want to encourage any camping where somebody might start a campfire. So we put on each trailhead a sign for Forest Park rules. It says no camping, no shooting, no fireworks. That's the current status.
But if someone came to Renee and asked for a permit, they could get one. Theoretically.
I would not recommend that we issue any.
I'm not
Garden
saying
of Eden
Yeah.
especially.
but my thought is that there's a property boundary up there.
Yes.
10 feet on one side of it, no camping. 10 feet the other side,
That's
that's
correct.
camping is permitted.
That's U.S. Forest Service property line at the west end of the garden, that's correct.
What's the difference as far as risk?
We can prohibit it, the Forest Service can only under certain conditions.
Yeah.
But we can prohibit it, and
But I mean, as
I
far as
recommend
risk,
we continue to prohibit it.
I mean, as far as risk is concerned, is there a difference?
No, fire is a fire.
Fire is a fire, whether it's.
Yeah.
Done, Mary?
Oh,
Do you guys, or do you guys want to digest it and think about it, we table it?
I guess you would have to know what the advantages of having camping versus not having camping.
I mean, from my point of view, it's a great place to be able to take kids up, because it's not very far in, and you can actually get them introduced to backpacking. There's not very many places where you actually can take kids half a mile, 3/4 of a mile in, and they feel like they're in the middle of nowhere, which is awesome.
who would clean it up? You know, at campgrounds, they have people. clean it
Well,
up.
okay, I guess I was guiding for a long time, and I've backpacked a lot. And normally, there's nothing to clean up.
Normal.
You pack it in, you pack it out.
And
That's dispersed.
I know every time I go up there, if I see trash, I pack it back out.
I can tell you that after we completed the Catamount Trail, we noticed fire rings up there. We dispersed the rocks and we hauled out bags of trash from people who camped up there. Don't recommend that you have camping within the town limits, period. Not just trash, but the fire hazards, the biggest concern.
What are you gonna bring?
I find myself in the awkward position of agreeing with Dick Grant.
Come up here and get a case, Mike.
The reason that there are gates at the end of Belvedere and the end of Honda, the specific reason is because years ago, when there weren't gates there, hikers, campers, whatever you want to call them, hiked up there, and we had a situation in the summertime where our maintenance people were spending 3, 4, and 5 trips a day picking up trash. That's the reason for the gates. So nobody can drive up there and dump off their picnic stuff and drive away.
Yeah.
And so, personally, if you want to allow camping, as long as you don't allow fires, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But how do you police that? And so I think
That's a good
it's
question.
near impossible. And so,
I don't know if it's gonna change anything, because, I mean, I came in from the other way the first time I was at Garden of Eden, and so I camped in Garden of Eden the first time maybe second time I was up there, because I came in from the other end.
Well, there's a sign at the other end, on the west end.
Well, I
Right, as
came
you
in
cross
from
the
one of
creek, it says no fires, no camping, no shooting. We posted that to try to protect the town.
Well, the first time I came in, I didn't see a sign, and I camped there, and I think that's how most people are gonna be, they're just gonna camp there and not pay attention, honestly.
You don't cross the creek.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't cross the creek when you come in from the reservoir.
Yeah.
The rest
you
of it,
do.
no.
On the Catamount Trail, it crosses the creek, that's where the old Boy Scout bridge was. There's the creek goes right there.
Oh, that's up,
Catamount Creek.
not up by the reservoir, but down,
At the
By this
west
property.
end of Garden of Eden.
That's saying what the east end.
The east end of Garden of Eden.
the west end.
Is that the west
It's
end?
not at the reservoir, you know,
Yeah.
with the service road, and there's a gate there,
Mhm.
chain.
Yeah.
But from that point there, you're on the southeast side of the creek
Yeah,
until you cross.
That's correct.
yeah.
At the west end of Garden of Eden.
These are duplicate plans, right, Mike? They look like it.
yeah, I marked them both.
Yeah, I saw. No, very good.
You know, I gotta agree with Matt that, how do you police it? You know, it's. I can't think of a good way to do it.
Well,
Good, easy, cost effective, I mean, it's.
I spent an hour and a half with the police this morning. They're the folks that live at the right at the end of Belvedere, right behind the gate. And they were adamant that camping not be allowed there. Their house is the first one that probably, that fire would affect, being at the end of the trail. It's at the far end of the road. They are petrified that and they see campers, and they get campers parking on their property and going away for 2 days. And they're rather upset about that. And you can ask them if you want to spend an hour and a half, because that's that's the time they'll take explaining to you why they don't like camping.
It was about 15 years ago, we had a homeless person set up a home right along Catamount Creek, and he was there for about 4 days before we got the marshal to go up there and evict him. And he made a mess.
Yeah, and longer ago than that, there was a couple that lived there for a whole summer.
Yeah. So, I think the board had a lot of concerns when they agreed that we'd have an ordinance, there'd be no camping within the town limits, period.
I think they were more comfortable with just saying no camping than they were with listening to the complaints that they got from residents.
Now, you talked about without a permit. So I mean, that very well could have been a boilerplate
That,
ordinance.
they wanted to have some flexibility. For instance, when the VOC people brought 200 people in here to build the Catamount Trail, the town board issued a camping permit for 1 night in our parks down here. Once we got rained out, they weren't planning on camping there, so they liked that flexibility. It was not intended to have people camping in the garden.
You know, I would ask this question. You say, what is the risk if a fire is 10 feet on one side or 10 feet on the other? If the fire starts in the national forest, who's gonna fight it? And I go back to the Hayman fire.